Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Azure podcast with your host Sam Foote
and Anne Armstrong.
If you're new here, we're a pair of Azure and Microsoft 365 focused IT security professionals. It's episode 1 of season 7. Alan and I are going to have a discussion around the new releases in December 2025. Here are a few things that we covered. All the key Microsoft Entra, Intune and Defender XDR features, updates and announcements. The Azure changes, any new features, and also retirements. We've noticed that a large number of you aren't subscribed. So if you do enjoy our podcast, please do consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to us for you to show your support to the show. It's a really great episode. It's going to be a really great episode. So without further delay, let's get started. Hey, Alan, how are you doing?
Hey, Sam, not doing too bad. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We are back.
Yes.
As they say in the movies.
Season 7.
Season 7, Alan. Now, tell me, Alan, how many years is it? Is it 6 years and 7 seasons?
I suppose technically, no. We did a couple of seasons a year for a little bit.
So was it 2021, 2022, something like that?
Yeah.
So do we think it's 5 years?
We started it. Season 1 is in COVID times. That's
I know we had that break, didn't we? Yes.
We attempted to do it, then we had technical problems with recording, and then we just gave up.
The world went back to normal. Yeah.
And then we started up again, didn't we? It's probably been at least 4 years straight, plus that year, I reckon, because I think we'd started it the year before I became a MVP, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No. It does seem mental that we're on, season 7 because, I don't know what our shortest season is. Is it like 20 episodes, something like that? We're at 150 odd episodes, if I remember rightly.
If you ignore season 1, which was 9, then our second season was second and third season was 21. Then it was 4th season 26. 5th we went just to town and went to 43.
Wow.
And 6 was 20, and then we went back down to 29 for season 6.
Slackers. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So that just goes to show. So we are back for 2026, aren't we? I think there's so much happening in our space, isn't there? Especially if you open yourself up to the possibility of artificial intelligence. So I think we've got a lot to talk about this year, and I'm sure there will be just as much product development, innovation, new releases, and also retirements for us as well. I think it's going to be, it's going to be good. I would say. Anything, any news over the holiday break? I think we've been out for about a month now, haven't we? Going by the dates.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head that there is no, from a news perspective, news that's not product updates or Microsoft updates. I don't think I've heard anything of big breaches or anything over the holidays.
No, I think even the bad people have taken some time off as well, right? I mean, not from what I see day to day. It's still definitely very busy, but from a large, headline grabbing, topics, especially from the UK, I think. And actually, I can't think of any big, except for like vendor known vulnerabilities like CVEs, which crop up all the time with software, right? Mm-hmm. But apart from that, I haven't heard too much, in the news about, sort of cyber attacks, etc. Just thinking. No, not really. No.
So.
No, nice. So what are we going to do this week then, Alan? It's going to be news, isn't it, for December 25?
Yes. It was. I had to remember. We always do it. The title or the topic is the month before. I almost put like January news,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you are listening to this in January, but it is December's news. Yeah. So if you're new here, what we do is we do one episode a month where we just sort of aggregate all of the changes that we've seen in our space. Alan will typically cover the 365 Defender security suite, that side of the house, Purview, Entra, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I will typically, for news, I will cover Defender for Cloud from a security perspective, any new changes there. And then I will also do overall overarching Azure changes as well, because the whole idea of the news isn't really, it is to broadcast out to everybody that's listening, but it's really just to keep Alan and I up to date with the new changes that have come out, because there are so many changes. So I personally do love to see all of the new Azure feature changes, especially around Azure Data Box and Chaos Studio. Like that, they're just my jam. Sorry, how long will we be? It's 5 minutes 55 seconds, so we're within the first 10 minutes, and Data Box has already been thinking. So
wow, it was Chaos Studio I was waiting for.
Oh, were you not? Okay, my original love, and then my second love of Data Box. So yeah, so that's what we'll do in this episode. Alan will probably take us through first, if that's okay with you, Alan, and then it will come across to me to go through it. So, Alan, unless you've got anything else for the intro, happy holidays and happy New Year as well. I mean, we can't really call that. I've stopped saying that. At work now. Yeah. But it's really nice to have you back. If you're a returning listener, and if you're new, welcome. And yeah, let's get started, Alan.
Yep. Okay, so let's start with, I suppose, in general, the Defender XDR, Microsoft Defender XDR. In December, so as we knew from Ignite, there are some new agents for Security Copilot. So, in effect, quite a few of these are starting to sort of come into preview or GA. So we've got dynamic threat detection agent, an always-on adaptive back-end service that uncovers hidden threats across Defender and Microsoft Sentinel environments. So that's gone into preview. For GA, we've got the Security Copilot Threat Intelligence Briefing Agent for Defender.
Nice. So that could be quite good. Yeah. Yeah, that's very valuable.
Yep. Do your vulnerability, build your report within a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
The next one is Microsoft Security Copilot in Microsoft Defender now lets you Microsoft's wording is terrible in this one, unfortunately. Lets you to hunt. Lets you hunt for threats using natural language. So, in effect, having a prompt to allow you to do some hunting to search for certain things, rather than trying to write the KQL for it, or use the it's the, I can't remember what they call it now, but it's more almost like the simplified search that you can do, or the supported search, I think it is, for the advanced hunting. In preview, advanced hunting schema tables are now available for preview, which is campaign information. So this looks like it's going to be from Defender for Office. So campaign info, file malicious content info, and that is from Defender for Office, but it's targeted at SharePoint Online, OneDrive, and Teams from that side.
Oh, nice.
Rather than email. Good. So that's good. GA, the hunting graph in advanced hunting is now generally available. So I'm guessing when you do some of your KQL, you can now see it in the graph form. How things like tied together.
Oh, visualizations, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, graph. Yeah. Okay, nice. Workbooks V2.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Yeah. Cool.
Well, I suppose the graph stuff. Well, the instant graphs and things like that have always been there, haven't they? With that visualization, so they're just moving into the advanced hunting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. True. Yeah. Actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the XDR. I expect we're going to get some crossover from the other products. Defender for Office, there wasn't anything in December. There is a few bits in January, but we don't talk to those until February. Defender for Endpoint in December, there was a triage collection. Use triage collection to prioritize incidents and hunts and hunt threats with Sentinel Model Context Protocol MCP server. So being allowed you to be able to hook up to that to do for your AI and that kind of thing. That was it as a service. I don't know if there's too much on the actual other parts. So yeah, that's that one. Defender for Identity. Quite a few things in January. That's going to be interesting. But in December, we had a new properties for Sense Candidate resource type in Graph API. Be able to identify which clients are on there and what the name of the domain, the domain controller name is in there, so you can pull it out so you can do other reporting and that side of things. There's also a new search activity now available in the identity query events. So when ADWS LDAP searches are done on Active Directory, you can now advancce hunt them. Before you ask, Sam, I don't know what ADWS is the acronym for in there, so because I know that's probably what you're next going to ask me, but
it wasn't actually, but yeah, what does it stand for?
I'll look for it whilst you're doing your bit. But yep, so that's that. What's this? Defender for cloud apps. So now, which is good, the permissions for MDA are now integrated with Microsoft Defender XDR Unified RBAC.
Yay!
Which I thought, to be fair, they were pretty close to that anyway, but yeah, that's good. Increased availability of app governance, unused apps insight feature, so preview. So being able to see unused apps now, or more insights into those ones, so you can identify ones that are non-Microsoft connected to OAuth apps, enforcing policy governance, and use advanced hunting queries for better security. So I think that's quite good. Yeah, that's it for that one. What's this one? Microsoft Sentinel. So there wasn't anything in December. Probably because it's been, we're transitioning into the XDR pool. We've recently had things like Data Lake, things like that.
Yeah.
And I think, is it June, July when it retires from the portal?
Wow.
So
crazy.
Got to get transitioning if you haven't already. Okay, so that's the Microsoft 365 Defender, but Defender XDR sort of solutionizing there outside of Defender for Cloud bits that you're going to cover, Sam. But if we move on to Purview, so we had Agent 365 in preview. So that's coming out now. So you can start monitoring, your agentic AIs that are hooking up into Entra and Microsoft 365 and check for compliance and things like that. Compliance Manager now integrates with Azure AI Foundry to automate compliance evaluations for AI models and agents. So that's pretty good as well, because I'm assuming that, I have not looked, but I'm assuming there's probably going to be some compliance regulations added into Compliance Manager that are based on, based on AI services. Because I'm sure there's going to be some AI regulations there, isn't there? Let's just take a look at this one. This Unified Catalog, it's not too bad. Generally available in the data security investigation. So this is based on Security Copilot helping you with your investigation of a data security breach. It's now generally available that there's support now for the data risk graph in the investigation. It helps visualize, again, it's the graph side of things to visualize the correlation between impacted data users and their activities. They've also got in preview pay-as-you-go usage dashboard. So yes, I've seen that actually. So to be able to identify, where your E5 or your compliance suite licenses per user don't cover everything in Purview. You can now see anything that is pay as you go. You can see how much affect your spending and where it's being spent in there. So I think that's really good to understand costs and things like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Let's make sure I'm still in December. I think I am. Yep. There's quite a few in here. Data security posture management in preview. So they're rolling out the new version of DSPM because it was mainly designed for DSPM for AI, but now it's been merged together. And to give you an idea of the whole of your estate. So outcome-based guided workflows. So choose data security objective and see related metrics, risks, patterns with recommendations, remediation plans, and impacts. You've got posture reports, AI, observability, so surface shore organizations, agent inventory, with assigned agent risk levels and agent posture metrics that are based on agentic interactions, including support for the preview of Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Agent 365. That also includes Microsoft Security Copilot agents to accelerate the discovery and analysis of sensitive data to uncover hidden risks across files, emails, and messages. So yeah, there's quite a bit in there. E-discovery cases, you can now add multiple data sources to a case by adding a list of SMTP addresses or URLs. It's cool, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't use it that often. It's obviously a really important tool, but from a day-to-day, it's not something I'm using all the time.
Yeah, no, I think that is cool, actually. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Inside of risk management, GA support for the data risk graph. So again, visualizing how the data, again, similar to the data security investigation, visualizing and correlating the impacts between the impacted data users and their activities. We've also got a new agent for insider risk management to triage insider risk management from the alert queue to tell you in effect, which ones are the highest risks and which ones you need to prioritize. So we've seen that quite a lot, and we're from the triaging side, so that's good. Sensitivity labels, auto labeling policy supports nested rule logic and or not conditions, which brings parity with DLP policies. Auto labeling. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're like the same thing, but not quite today.
Well,
right?
it's almost like sometimes in DLP you want to, based on certain criteria, you want to label it, but you can't do. You can only do the encrypted labels. So this kind of moves that. Auto labeling is the right place for that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree.
Cool. Okay, so that was Purview. So quite a few bits there, and to be fair, January looks like it's got a lot on it already.
Wow.
So unified security operations, there wasn't anything for December from that side. So again, that's a bit more around the integration of Sentinel and Defender XDR portal, bringing it into a single location. So where there's benefit across the portal itself, but there's not been any new things there. Right, Microsoft Entra. So let's just take a look. So we've got, let me just look. Microsoft Entra, so generally available, the Microsoft Entra Connect security hardening to prevent user account takeover. So there's been some changes there. Enforcing some of their logic. So enforcing logic now to check on-premise objective identifiers to detect and block remapping attempts. Audit logs have been enhanced to capture changes to on-premise object identifiers and DERSync enabled. Admin capabilities have been added to clear on-premise object identifiers for legitimate recovery scenarios. So a few things like that.
That's cool.
Let's just take a look. In preview, we've got protect enterprise generative AI applications with Prompt Shield. Block prompt injection attacks to enterprise generative AI apps in real time with unveiling policies, policy control, extending Azure AI Prompt Shield to all network traffic. So that will be integration with security, global secure access.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So that's that part. B2B guest access support for global secure access. So be able to use private access as a guest, so you can switch tenants on if you're the guest, you can switch tenants and jump over to someone else's network over in effect over their VPN, meeting all their conditional access criteria. That
Lovely jubbly. Yeah.
Golden.
Great.
We've got data in preview, data exploration using Microsoft Security Copilot and Entra. Now supports data exploration when prompts return data sets with more than 10 items. This feature is in preview and available in the Entra scenarios. So bring a bit more data back. Public preview, Microsoft Entra ID account recovery. So that was brought up at Ignite. So that's visible now, where users can recover their account, including, I'm guessing, their MFA part, which is probably the hardest part when you change phones. Using verified ID to validate who you are, using the Face ID part of it, I think it is. So you can recover your account without having to disrupt IT or the help desk. I think that's a good one. There's quite a few here, so it's probably worth everyone taking a look, but I'll leave it at that for now. Microsoft Intune. So let's just go through this. One thing that's in here is, as part of the sort of announcements from Ignite, securing enterprise browsers managed by Intune. So potentially now you can do mobile application management MAM policies for Edge, which on Android and OS, that's no problem. That was already there. But this is for desktop operating systems, so Windows and Mac OS.
Very good. That was Ignite, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or around Ignite? Yeah.
It was around Ignite, but it was not like a...
it was just in the book of news, wasn't it? Even though we were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" It came just after, kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, I called it out. I think last time when we did the Ignite one, that it's almost like a hidden gem. Is it here now then?
It's in public preview now to start looking.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
So
I missed that first bit. Okay. Nice. Really good.
Yeah. So in fact that was that part. Was there anything else? How have they done this? Yes, I think that was probably it. There's some bits about new setup assistant screens now generally available for iOS and Android and Mac OS for automated. So it's other bits you can skip, like the App Store, camera buttons, web content filtering, that kind of thing. There's a few bits for the actual auto enrollment. And Acme protocol is now supported on OS and Android and Mac OS enrollment. So yeah, drawing down certificates down to the device. I think that was it, because my last tab was me getting all the notes for the securing Microsoft Edge for Business, because I started to go down the rabbit hole of looking at that quickly.
Nice.
So that's me. So quite a few. Purview being the biggest one, which
definitely.
To be fair, is no surprise.
No.
So
they've got a lot to comply. No. I don't know. There's a lot of compliance that needs to happen with a lot of these changes that are happening in the world right now, right?
Yeah. So yeah, cool. Over to you, Sam, then on Defender for Cloud and Azure.
Yeah, so let's start with Defender for Cloud then. So yeah, we've got a a preview in Defender for Cloud for AWS Cloud Trail ingestion. So yeah, Cloud Trail is what's the best analogy I can? It's AWS's core logging system, I would say. What's it analogous? What's it alignment to?
I was going to say, is it like Azure Activity? But it's probably not. It's even more than that, isn't it? It's
kind of like Azure Activity. I'm going to go with that. So yeah, it allows. So I'm going to ask you a question, actually, Alan. Cloud Infrastructure Entitlement Management, CIEM. How do you pronounce that? Is it Kime?
I still think it's like SIEM,
or is it STIM? Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, what Entra permissions management it used to be. So yeah, it's basically to bring in that Cloud Trail ingestion so that you can understand the RBAC events that are going on there on that side of the fence on AWS. So yeah, if you are using Cloud Trail and you want to ingest that into Defender for Cloud, take a look at it. It's essentially, if you add this context in, it helps improve the accuracy of the AWS security recommendations. So things like unused permissions, dormant identities, and apparently there are some privilege escalation paths that can be identified with it. So there is some tangible benefits there to bring in that data. So yeah, because of the deprecation of Entra permissions management, Microsoft Defender for Cloud is updating its. I'm going to call it SIEM. I don't know. Cloud Infrastructure Entitlement Management. I'll just use the full name until I can actually work out the acronym. The recommendation logic is being updated across all the three main hyperscalers, so Azure, AWS, and GCP. So the idea of it here is, I got a feeling, I don't know, is this just a new version of Entra permissions management that's just been bolted into Defender for Cloud, or is that what they did and now they're rewriting it? Who knows? But the key changes to it is inactive identity detection now uses unassigned role assignments rather than sign-in activity. So yeah, so it actually looks at what you're actively using. The look-back window has been extended to 90 days, and it was previously 45 days. Identities created within the past 90 days will not be evaluated as inactive. So, and there are some cloud-specific ones. So yeah, inactive identity recommendations on Azure now include read-level permissions evaluation, so it gives you better insights. AWS, they are wanting you to integrate the Cloud Trail logs ingestion, to basically get additional coverage. And on GCP, there is also a similar ingestion. Maybe we talked about that last month, but the cloud logging ingestion on that side as well. In order to do GCP, you have to do that cloud logging ingestion to do GCP. So, yeah.
Yes, I think it's good. I wonder if they're starting to do that to get Defender for Cloud to do the alerting on anything, rather than bring it into like Sentinel.
Do you think what they did is they bought, was it CloudKnox? Yeah?
Yep.
Do you think they bought CloudKnox, didn't really rebuild it, so to speak, and now what they've done is pulled the core logic out of CloudKnox and integrated it into Defender for Cloud? And they're replacing the Defender for Cloud Cloud Infrastructure Entitlement Management functionality with the bones of CloudKnox, Entra permissions management. Because it would make sense to me, because all the front end of like Defender for Cloud was already there. So why rebuild all of that into a completely new product, new, rebrand that everything's there, but take the logic, the back end logic, and then shove it into the side of Defender for Cloud?
Yeah.
That's my theory. I've got absolutely nothing to back that up. But it feels like there's a lot of change happening in this cloud infrastructure entitlement management area that is coming pretty rapidly, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it more than likely was. I think it's very difficult to sell because I think there's quite a large cost to it because it was per asset it detected, kind of thing, and per account and etc. So it's very hard to. I think it was very hard to sell, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
On its own, where when they decommissioned it.
Yeah. And I think that to keep, so instead of them having to fire up like a completely standalone instance of Entra permissions management, what they can do is bring the business logic across, integrate it into the Defender for Cloud infrastructure, and absorb it probably as a price increase of the Defender CSPM plan. Or at some point they might roll it out into its own better functionality, right?
Yeah, I mean, it might be that, or it might just be they've kept the core engine for it. Like you said, the logic, but maybe they just kept the core engine. They've just changed how you integrate with it.
Yeah,
so that it's all tied into Defender for Cloud.
And the permissions creep index metric will be deprecated, and it will no longer appear in Defender for Cloud recommendations. The permissions creep index is being replaced by the improved activity-based cloud infrastructure entitlement management logic, offering clearer guidance and more consistent identity risk insights. So that reads to me that that's going to be replaced with the severities that are like in Defender for Cloud instead. Yeah,
it's definitely being integrated, isn't it? There, definitely.
That's what it feels like to me. And there's I don't. If that is the case, I hope it is the case, because fundamentally, Cloud Knox Entra permissions management was fundamentally a great concept and idea and product, wasn't it? It was expensive to adopt as an organization, unfortunately. So maybe this is the way that they can make the books balance, so people can actually get this functionality. Because I think we kind of thought, well, I was like, well, why would they get rid of the cloud infrastructure entitlement management functionality? Because that was actually like valuable, right? Mm-hmm. The actual output that you got from Entra permissions management was actually good. It was valuable. What wasn't so great was the cost per object, the cost, but the cost would have only been a function of their cost basis, right? That they're obviously going to have a margin and everything, but if they could have run it in a more effective way, it would have been cheaper. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Defender for Cloud. It's just getting bolted in more directly into it, because we're getting these new connectors, aren't we? And we're getting these new insights, and logic that's being run,
Yeah, well, you've also got Defender for Cloud, not necessarily moving, but definitely integrating with the XDR portal. So
yes,
so maybe also
correct,
into
100%.
There as well.
Yeah, that's just another checkbox, isn't there?
Mm.
Okay, so what's the next one that I was going to do? Endor Labs, I believe they do vulnerability analysis. I believe, and they do. I think it's like GitHub Advanced Security, where they turn code that they're analyzing into like a queryable interface, basically. So they call it software composition analysis. So it finds like vulnerabilities in your code by actually reading the code effectively. Sorry, go on, Alan.
I think with these guys, it's either these or another one. I think it is these guys. That it also reads the code, but understands if there was what's exposed in the app and what's like core, and nothing can get to it as well. So you can identify like reprioritization, I think.
Okay.
Of the apps or the packages.
Yeah, so that integration is now generally available. So if you do use Endor Labs, then that is generally available. Defender for Cloud CSPM now adds serverless protection for Azure and AWS. So what's interesting here is there's a table in the documentation, okay, that calls out what you can and can't do on the Defender for Cloud portal versus the Defender portal, which is interesting. So you can do mostly like everything, but like, for instance, you can only do the onboarding in the Defender for Cloud portal. You can only build queries in the Cloud Security Explorer in the Defender for Cloud portal as it stands. But you can only do a vulnerability assessment in the Defender portal. So there's probably some catch up that needs to happen in this space. I only call that out because that's the first time I've seen a table like this represented in that way. So I think it's probably worth calling out that as we go through these, should we call them transition periods, that we're going to have some things in some places and some things in not. So, what this is going to do, this release introduces automatic discovery and security posture management for Azure Functions, Azure Web Apps, and AWS Lambda functions. So you can see all of your serverless resources in a centralized inventory, identify misconfiguration vulnerabilities, and insecure dependencies.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is Azure Blob Storage SFTP resumable uploads is now generally available. It's in my list, but it did say that it was generally available in August 2025. So it's usually when there's been an update in and around that area. So it might have actually popped out of that later on. No, actually, it says last. This is why I never use this list, because it confuses me. Anyway, so ignore that. That was a long time ago. Right. Let me go through and find my next one. This one is quite interesting. Okay, so now generally available is Azure MCP server. Model Context Protocol server for Azure Confidential Ledger. So it provides a streamlined approach for managing Azure resources, including Azure Confidential Ledger, through natural language prompts. The feature allows users to interact with Confidential Ledger without the need to memorize complex command syntax. Which, the reason why I'm really talking about this is Azure MCP server is great. But it's interesting that it's now being put into what I will call very sensitive resources, right?
Yeah, but wasn't it termed that it was just for helping configure or to review stuff, so you don't have to worry about the complex commands and things like that? Just saying, hey, can you sort this out?
Yeah, but it is, and it does say it in the notes from Microsoft, that it is writing to and reading from the ledger is now fully supported and ready for deployment.
Okay.
So your AIs are going to be doing stuff for you in your confidential ledger. I'd love to have that conversation with a client that's considering that. Anyway, I'm sure it's absolutely fine. Mistral Large 3, which is they call it a frontier class open weight model with Apache 2 licensing. Yeah, and that's the reason why I called out Mistral, because they do have really permissive licensing. It's now available in Microsoft Foundry on Azure. So that's really cool to see. The pricing is 50 cents per 1 million tokens input, and output is $1.5 per million tokens. The deployment is global standard in West US 3. Cool. That's in preview, public preview.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Come on, Azure Data Box.
Chaos Studio.
Okay, so I think we talked about this last time, and this is probably important as well. I think we talked about outbound access from VNets. and how it was changing. Now that has changed. The previous date was September the 30th, 2025, and now they've extended it to March 31st, 2026. So I'll just give you a recap on outbound access. So explicit outbound connectivity, either via a NAT gateway, UDR, or other methods, must be configured to access public endpoints on the internet or Microsoft services. Default outbound access will be disabled by default but not removed. Customers who do not configure an outbound method will lose internet connectivity. Oh, this is specifically talking about Azure Batch from their batch nodes. So this aligns with what we previously talked about outbound access for the VNet updates. So yeah, so sorry, this is about Azure Batch, but it does align to the broader Azure Virtual Network VNet update.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. Cool.
Azure NetApp Files now has advanced ransomware protection. ANF-ARP is the acronym, is now in public preview. So yeah, it's there to detect and respond to and recover from ransomware threats on cloud volumes. So what it does is it monitors Azure NetApp file volumes for specific suspicious activity using file extension profiling, checking the last 4 digits of the file name, entropy, and IOPS patterns. So it is actually quite sophisticated. When a threat is detected, the system creates a point-in-time snapshot of data, enabling rapid evaluation and recovery. Notifications are sent via Azure Activity Log, and attack reports are retained for 30 days. There is currently no specific additional charge for ANF-ARP, but you need to see the consideration section of the documentation when sizing your deployment to accommodate for ANF-ARP. So I assume it must use some of your IOPS or provisioned space in order to do that. Generally available, typo on the Microsoft feed. I'm not going to read that, actually. I just wanted to call out that it was a typo. Use the Azure SRE agent with Azure Cosmos DB. So now you can simplify how you diagnose and resolve issues in your applications running on Azure Cosmos DB with the introduction of the Azure Cosmos DB Site Reliability Engineering Agent. Oh, that's a mouthful. Built on the Azure SRE agent platform, this new capability gives you deeper information, health, performance of your database workloads, client-side telemetry, server-side diagnostics, interact with your Cosmos DB in natural language. Sorry, I stopped reading that because it was just marketing words. So there is now an SRE agent that can be used for Cosmos DB. So that could be helpful from a site reliability engineering perspective, helping you to diagnose issues rapidly, because I suppose a lot of those types of people are responding to problems that happen. Service now in public preview. The Service Bus SDK type bindings are available in Azure Functions for Node.js. That might just be words to you, Alan. But essentially, this means that a JavaScript or TypeScript function app can now interact with Service Message Bus context, offering advanced messaging functionality. So that's really cool, because Service Bus is a great product, and it's really good to see those type bindings in there for that. That's currently in public preview.
Okay, that makes sense. Just about.
Azure Storage Mover, it has a new function called Azure Blob Container to Container Migration feature is now in public preview. So it allows you to move data between 2 blob containers within the same or different storage accounts, even subscriptions or Azure regions, securely and reliably at scale. So it eliminates the need for manual pipelines and automation tools, and you can do the migrations directly in Azure portal. and you can create jobs. Essentially, it's all managed for you. There's no agent that you've got to happen, and apparently they are high-speed parallel transfers that happen. So if you need to migrate blobs to blobs across subscriptions, that's cool. Sorry, no, I don't want to talk about that. Now generally, last one. Now generally available is geo-replication for Azure Service Bus Premium. So Azure Service Bus Premium tier now has actually generally available geo-replication. So that allows you to run multiple endpoints or instances of Azure Service Bus in the event of any sort of outage. You can then reroute into a secondary region. So yeah, and apparently the promotion between the two regions is near instantaneous and doesn't require any changes on the client-side applications. And that's me for December. Oh, that went into preview in July 24 and now is generally available in December 25. So actually, this interface is actually nicer because I can actually see those stats. I couldn't see that with the RSS feed. So I've just got to get used to this. So I apologize for my tardiness as I went through. Yeah, and that's basically it for Azure. There was other stuff, but they're like very niche specific things for things that we'll probably never use. So I don't.
So going back to ADWS, LDAP, kind of kicking myself that I didn't kind of guess it. But it's Active Directory Web Services.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It makes complete sense. So,
thanks for that that update, Alan, and correction.
Yeah, I said I'd go look for it, so I did.
Yeah, no, that's nice. I've got a funny remark of somebody said to me. I won't tell you what. It's not really a problem, but somebody said to me off the cuff the other day, it seems like Microsoft doesn't care about Active Directory anymore, right? And it was from a non-technical person as well. And I was just inside. I had to tell you basically because I just thought it was just quite funny, to be totally honest with you. And the only response I had was, yes, it's been like that for quite a while, to be honest with you. So when you talk about like the Defender for Identity like updates, it's like old world, new world. Do you know what I mean? It's like
it is, and it is, right? but I suppose it's kind of related to the evolving, of the product. But they're now bringing in things like Okta and that kind of stuff into Defender for Identity. So they are moving to other cloud.
Yeah,
IDPs
exactly.
and stuff.
No, I didn't really mean it from an Defender for Identity. I just meant that when we see like, I see recommendations, for hardening activity in Defender for Identity, and I'm like, this is new world meets old world. Do you know what I mean? But you're completely right. I think Microsoft has done that in so many different areas where they're just saying, we have an identity like protection solution, and it doesn't matter if it's Active Directory, Entra, I suppose not Entra, but do you see what I'm saying? And other IDPs as well. So it's what they've done in every area, isn't it? So it doesn't really surprise me at all. Yeah,
and rightly or wrongly, Active Directory is still around, and it will be for a while because it's lived and breathed for I don't know how long it's been out, but it's 20. I reckon it's got to be at least 20 years, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I would say probably in the last, I'll pick a number. The last 20 clients that I've worked with, I've only had one that's been like cloud, if that makes sense. No Active Directory, and that is only because they were a relatively new company and relatively small. But anybody of any certain size, it's
and then and then they ask you about the password policy in Entra.
Yeah, exactly. I had that. I had that. I had that conversation this week as well. No, I don't think it might have been last week actually. And we were talking about enforcement of password policies.
Yeah.
And I was just waiting for. To be fair, the guys on the other end of the call were really cool about it, but I was just waiting for the whole. Yeah, but we can't do like our
more than 8 characters.
We can't. We don't have the same flexibility basically. And I was like, yeah, no. And there doesn't seem to be like an active work stream to fix that either.
Do you know why? It's passwordless all the way, isn't it? So.
Well, and that's really interesting because the Windows passwordless Windows Hello for Business, I think, also is quite intimidating for a lot of organizations to really like wrap their heads around, because they've got this old and new trying to work in together. Do you see what I'm saying? You know, it is a bit weird for them. Do you know what I mean?
It's we're kind of off topic, but it's not. But hey, this is what these podcasts are like, though, isn't it? This is what we talk. We talk about something random, then we get into it. But my work laptop, I mean, yes, I'm an insider and all that sort of stuff with it, but there's registry keys now to remove the actual local password. So I can only do passwordless locally, like Windows Hello, or I have to jump to the web sign in to do Entra.
Yeah.
So yeah. I've tried to start going passwordless on it.
Yeah.
But much as I can.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but yeah, no, but your point still, your point is completely valid. When, if ever, will people migrate from their hybrid join temporary states? Do you know what I mean? I don't see a time horizon for that. Do you? There's not much.
No, the problem is with it is there's so much integration with the authentication mechanisms of legacy applications or applications on-prem to move it. There's a whole work stream of there's a whole roadmap there, isn't there? Moving the devices off AD onto Entra and then allowing them to communicate back to AD and authenticate correctly. That's like your first stage, isn't it? And then it's how you do use technology like app proxy or private access to then do authentication for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it goes down a.
Yeah, and it always comes back to what's broke. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Do you know what I mean? So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right, cool. Thanks for the all the updates, Alan. We've hit an hour, so yeah, pretty decent episode. What's next? Who's? I don't even know whose episode it is next. Is it mine?
I think it's probably mine. Okay. We'll leave it as a mystery.
We'll leave it as a mystery. So we will.
AKA, yeah.
There will be an episode next week. We don't know what it is or who's doing it. Hopefully, it's one of us. But yeah, no, that sounds really good. It's good to be back. Yeah, thanks.
The AI going to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. What is it going to be? It's going to be like podcast agent for Azure and security topics. Yeah, you can just listen to generated summarization. Well, that's all we're doing, really, isn't it, Alan? We're just summarizing the news.
Do we just get to learn our voices and just get to do a podcast for us? Who knows?
Well, how do the listeners know it's even me and you at this point? Well, let's leave it there, Alan. Let's leave it there. Nice.
Cool. So did you enjoy this episode? If so, please do consider leaving us a review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. If it really helps us reach out to more people like yourselves. If you have any specific feedback or suggestions, we have a link in our show notes to get in contact with us.
Yeah, and if you made it this far, thanks ever so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks all.